beware of Esau. Let's look at our scriptures today. Philippians chapter 3, 17 through to chapter 4, verse 20, and in particular 3, verse 19. Their destiny is destruction, their God is their stomach, and their glory is in their shame. Their mind is on earthly things. Verse 19 of chapter 3, Philippians. As you come to the end of Philippians chapter 3, we see that Paul again is alluding to the threat posed by the Judaizers. The Philippians are reminded about prior warnings about the Judaizers, and now with tears he must warn them once again about this problem. Many of these Judaizers were men whom Paul had high hopes, but who somehow wound up rejecting the gospel and falling back into grievous error. They became, Paul said, enemies of the cross of Christ. Look at chapter 3, verse 18. And in fact, Paul characterizes them as the new Esau. Just as Esau persecuted Jacob, fighting him even in the womb, so that a better Esau was bringing grief to the true Israel of God. So Paul warns us in Philippians not to follow them, because this would lead to destruction, and those who would follow them end up in hell. Esau, like their gods, were their bellies. Esau was willing to do anything to trade his birthright, reject the kingdom in order to get a quick fix from Jacob. Esau was hungry, but if he had waited 20 minutes, another servant could have prepared the meal of meat for him. But his God was his stomach, and he despised the covenant, according to Genesis chapter 25, 29 through to 34. Esau's mind was on earthly things, and what he regarded as important were things of which he should have been ashamed. A true Christian, a true minister of the gospel, feels internal shame when he catches himself seeking earthly gain or glory at the expense of the church. And sadly, the Judaizers were not the last Esau's in the church of Christ. Down through the centuries, and even in our own day, we see many ministers, many Christians, many believers who are more interested in their career rather than in their calling. More calling, less career. They pursue glory, riches, and they will often ignore other believers. They'll ignore the church. And Paul knew that Christians have this earthly needs. He understood that. He also knew that it's possible to become very focused on these earthly needs and to forget the cross of Christ. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to take care of yourself and your family, but there is something more deadly when such a concern overwhelms everything else in life. So Paul therefore tells us to keep our eyes focused on Christ. And when he returns, he will reward us all, and he will transform these bad situations into wonderful ones that will last forever. The problem in this life is that it's a short duration. And in light of this lesson that we've been looking at in this particular text today, we need to look at our concerns and our focus. So what do you worry about? Are you overwhelmed by your worries? Do you focus on Christ and the kingdom or yourself? You know, we need to take time in prayer to encounter and refocus on his kingdom, on Christ, and ask the Spirit to give us strength to lift our eyes off the things of this world and onto eternity. In Jesus' name.